Hello once again, readers of great literature. My name is Pell, and this is once again coming from my white room. Now, today I am reviewing for you guys Inferno by Dan Brown. This is the author of The Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, The Lost Symbol, Deception Point, and Digital Fortress. If you've read any of those, you know what this novel is going to be similar to. This is his latest work. Came out in May. I'm reviewing it now. The beginnings of June. You'll see this at the end of June. Now, the main character in this novel, as with The Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, and The Lost Symbol, is Robert Langdon. He's a Harvard professor of symbology, which is basically someone who knows a lot about symbols. He's also a big art historian. If you've read any of those three books that I just named off, you know more or less what this guy is about. He's very smart, he's very intricate, and he knows a lot about history and art and symbols. We also have our second main character in this book, Sienna Brooks. She is someone who Robert meets really early on in the novel. I didn't even expect her to be the main companion in this. Yeah, he meets her right away. She is a doctor and she's incredibly smart. She has a very interesting past, though. As you read the book, you see this unfold and unravel. More interestingly, towards the end, but it's also very interesting to see aspects of her at the beginning of the book too. Our third main character is Agent Brewer. He is a guy who is trying to track down Langdon for a reason. I'm not going to say what, but he and his team are trying to track down Langdon and get at him for whatever reason throughout the book, and so I'll say that. Our fourth main character is Elizabeth Sinsky. She is the director of WHO, which is the World Health Organization, and she plays a important role in this novel. She's not extremely important, but she has more to do with kind of the background of the whole scenario, and then she has more of a presence at the end of the book too. As with all books, there are many other characters in the background that intermingle. Some have to deal with the plot, some are just in it for a few chapters, but those are the main ones that I felt were really significant to the story as a whole. Now, getting into the plot. As usual with my reviews nowadays, I will not be talking about the ending of the review now. I'll be talking about that after the credits of this video, so stay tuned after that if you want to hear my thoughts on the end of the book. But right now I'm just going to give a general summary of the plot, and that would be basically Robert Langdon wakes up in a hotel bed. He has no memory of the past few days, and very quickly he is attacked by an agent of some sort. He doesn't know who this person is. His doctor is Sienna Brooks. She gets him out of the hospital and basically from there, because I don't want to give away too much, the story begins to unravel. It's basically Robert and Sienna basically trying to figure out what the heck is going on. What did Robert do over the last few days? And kind of going from there. The plot really does have to do with Dante, I have no idea how to say his last name, and basically the author of the Divine Comedy, if you've ever heard of that, Dante's Inferno, stuff like that. He is the one who wrote it. He wrote it in 13th century, I think. Might be wrong on that, but I think that's right. It's become widely famous ever since. The story deals significantly with this in many different aspects. The main setting for the book is in Italy, particularly in Florence, and then also in Venice. And then at a point in the book it goes to Turkey as well. And so stay tuned after the credits if you want to see my little thoughts on that, and particularly Istanbul for that. So, yeah, that's a general summary of the plot. And so going into theme. There are multiple themes in this book. One main one that kind of sticks out throughout the whole entire thing is the idea of overpopulation. Essentially, the idea that the world is growing at an immense rate in terms of people, and the idea that in the next 100 years the human race will be extinct because we will have used up all our resources, and it'll basically be mass chaos, society's crumbling all around us, and humanity will die out. And one question which is asked in this book at one point is, if you could throw a switch and randomly kill off one half of the population, including possibly yourself, friends, family, would you do it? If you ended ended up saving the human race, which would otherwise go extinct in the next 100 years. Basically, sacrifice the few to save the many. It's a very interesting question, and it's a very troubling question because it makes a lot of people deal with denial, and it's like, that'll never happen in my lifetime. But the fact is, assuming all the stuff in this book is correct, it is actually getting very, very close to that happening. Truth being another theme. This deals with a variety of different people. There's a lot of lies, and then Robert basically learning what happened to him during the time that he doesn't remember, and then truth about certain individuals who I won't say here, obviously. That's the main theme. I know that there's a bunch more themes, but I'm just blanking on them at this point. But if there's anything that you want to actually talk about from the book in detail, dealing with a theme or even a certain part of the book, comment below and let me know, and I will be happy to discuss that with you. Or you can PM me or video message me if that's still a thing. Going into enjoyment, I enjoyed this book honestly more than I thought I was going to going into it. I have read all of Dan Brown's books, so I know more or less what to expect from these at this point. If you're going to read it and it's your first time reading it, know that there are some slow areas where it's essentially just a description of an area and the history behind it, and then a little bit of commentary from the characters, and then it's the next chapter. That happens every so often, and it can be kind of hard to get through if you're not a huge fan of art history in general, or symbols. So, and that's mainly what the content deals with. As I've said multiple times on this channel, I'm a history major, so I actually found a lot of stuff that was put into this book interesting. For me, I actually really enjoyed it. But yeah, I definitely think this is probably one of Dan Brown's best books in his series, Robert Langdon series at this point. I feel like the series could possibly be coming to an end soon, like he could kill off Robert Langdon, because it says repeatedly that he's getting really old and stuff like that, and I feel like that he can only survive all these crazy adventures for so long until it becomes kind of like, oh, that's not really realistic anymore. But yeah, that's all I'll say about that for now. After the credits, which are going to go up in about a minute, I'll be talking about the ending to the book, so if you've read Inferno and you want to see my thoughts on it, stay tuned. So, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe if you so choose. I'd appreciate it immensely. And as always, my good people, my name is Nick Pell, and as always, keep on reading.
Stay all night, save the population. Stay all night, we'll save the population. Stay all night, we'll save the population.
And if you are still watching, you are here to see my thoughts on the ending to Dan Brown's Inferno. Basically, I was not really expecting for Sienna to go bad. That actually came as kind of a shock to me when I originally thought that she was going to go bad. Obviously, if you've read the book, you know that she didn't actually go bad, but she kind of did, but she didn't. A little complicated. But she's eventually good at the end, which I found good, but also kind of a tad bit predictable. But I don't know, it didn't deter from the story at all. I found it really interesting that Bertrand actually succeeded. The virus went out even before the beginning of the novel, without anyone's knowledge. And it's basically, in case you don't remember somehow, the virus is essentially one that causes a random third of the population to become sterile so they can't have kids. In theory, this would decrease the birth rate of the world and then slowly allow the population numbers to decline over time instead of continually decreasing, making the population more manageable and allowing the resources to be used more efficiently. Honestly, in reality, this does sound like an interesting idea. Obviously, it will never happen, most likely, unless it's already happened. The idea itself is an interesting one. Just the fact that Elizabeth, after the virus was out and there wasn't really a whole lot that they could do about it, she raised an interesting point. Basically, that if they were to stop the virus from or if they were to get rid of the virus and neutralize it, they would essentially be back at square one with the whole overpopulation issue. So I found that really interesting. I don't know. Overall, I did like the ending. I thought it was casual. Dan Brown formation for an ending to a book. I was kind of surprised I didn't end up sleeping with his companion, or Robert Langdon didn't, because that is, if my memory serves me right, he slept with the person in Da Vinci Code, he slept with the person in Angels and Demons, and he slept with the person in Lost Symbol at the end of each novel, respectively. So I was a little surprised. Now, something I personally thought was kind of cool is the fact that towards the very end of the book, as you see, Robert and the crew go to Istanbul, Turkey, which is, if you saw my Turkey video, that's where I was for 10 days. And so as this whole scene is playing out with the virus and everything, I could picture where all this stuff was, because he was in Hagia Sophia, seen here.
The figures of the iconography has the halo around the head, as you see, but only the Jesus halo has the cross in it, crucifix. Then
he was in the Roman cistern, which was where the whole thing was, right here. And then where the virus was by the Medusa head, as seen right here. That's where I was in Turkey, and it was just the coolest thing to be able to picture all these places, and then as I'm reading the book and see it unfold as I know what's actually happening, and being able to envision all these places. So for me personally, I thought that part was kind of cool. Yeah, those are my thoughts on the ending to Inferno. Leave any comments that you wish down below if you so choose. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on the ending, your thoughts on a bunch of the themes that happen in the book, and stuff like that. So, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe, as usual, my good people, if you so choose. I'd appreciate it immensely. And once again, my name is Nick Pell, and as always, keep on reading.